Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Guys Who Stare at Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy alongside Andrew Santangelo. And Andrew, we're almost there. We're almost to winter break here at Northwestern. College basketball's ramping up. The NFL it's beyond full swing at this point. We're almost getting to that playoff push time of the season. Whole lot going on. MLB free agency going on as well. But, of course, the most important question, Andrew, how are you doing today?
Yeah, like you said, it's finals week, almost at winter break. I don't miss those at all. Very thankful. I'm done. I'm done taking finals, so that's nice to not have to worry about. But like you said, a lot of fun stuff going on. We'll have bowl games here in the next few weeks. We got NFL picking up, and like you said, baseball free agency, one of my favorite times of the year. Being a big baseball fan, seeing where everybody else is going, and then we get to get excited for next season. So, like you said too, college basketball ramping up, which is also one of my favorites, so no, it could be a more exciting time right now.
It always is. Of course, if you're watching this live on Twitch, feel free to give us a follow, twitch.tv/NWTV7. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, that's great as well. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications, and leave a comment below how you feel about this upcoming week, because it is week 14 of the NFL. And we've got a whole lot of buys this week. You look down at the bottom here, 6 teams on bye. We've got, of course, our intriguing Thursday night game now with some information that's been provided earlier in the day. And, well, let's just get right into it. Raiders-Rams, that game tonight, the Amazon Prime exclusive. Baker Mayfield possibly playing tonight in what could be one of the most odd decisions I think I can remember in the NFL. Baker Mayfield signing with the Rams almost 2 whole days ago now. And if John Wolford does not have a great warm-up, Baker Mayfield will start tonight. Now, Andrew, I don't know about you. Even though I love Baker, I still think that's a little too risky to let a guy who's known the playbook for 2 days run the show.
Yeah, no question about it, especially with where we're at in the season. If this is like week 6 or 7 and, okay, you got full-on playoff hopes still. You got division hopes. You need a win. Yeah, you might take a risk like this. But, I mean, we're, like you said, Kay, we're week 14. You're 3-9. I mean, what's the win going to do? Put you at 4. You're 4 games back. Or, excuse me, that's Vegas. You're 5 games back.
Yes, it's
so even worse than I thought. So, I mean, what does this game really entail for you? Like, I get it. You want to win as many games as possible. Obviously, I'm not saying that, but you've been without Stafford for weeks now. Rushing Baker into this game is only possibly going to hurt him more than anything. It's going to make him possibly look worse. You're going to make your team look funny too. I mean, you got Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson on the IR, so he doesn't even have his go-to weapons in this game. So you're basically throwing Baker out there for nothing. Like, I mean, maybe obviously he's good enough to steal a game here. But who knows? Either way, I like the Raiders to cover and win the game. I mean, I just think it makes more sense to go that way. I will say this, though. Would it not be a Raiders thing to find a way to lose this game? But, no, I mean, easy game here in terms of the game plan for the Raiders. Give the ball to Josh Jacobs, let him control the clock, and then continue throwing the ball to Devontae Adams. And I don't think Rams are going to be able to stop him. I believe a little banged up on defense as well. So, I mean, they got guys missing left and right here for the former Super Bowl champions.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is a Rams team that all year it's just been injuries. That's been the major plague for them. Then you had Matt Stafford getting injured, and once that happened, it was already going downhill. You're just throwing him off the curb at that point, just into the dumpster. It was a rough year for the Rams. Still is. It's not going to get any easier. But the Raiders, though, I know we talked about this on Tuesday. Vegas starting to get with a little bit of a hot streak here. They found their formula of Jacobs and Adams, and, I mean, those are the 2 guys you're going to want to go to. I think Vegas wins this game. Baker or no Baker, it's not going to make that much of a difference in the end, I feel like. Vegas is just going to be able to run over the Rams' defense.
Yeah, no question about it. And you mentioned it, Raiders getting hot at the right time. This is where it really gets important here down the stretch. Like you said, this is where the playoff chase starts, and you're sitting 2 games out of the wild card spot. I get it's a road game, but, I mean, listen, in the end, we all know we don't know what Jets team is going to show up week to week, and that's the 7th spot right now. So you're still very much in this race. You beat the Chargers last week. Now you're a game behind them, and you really put yourself in position here to possibly steal that last wild card spot. and find yourself in the postseason. So this is obviously a must-win game here for the Raiders, and it couldn't be any better. You're either facing a backup quarterback or you're facing a quarterback that has been studying the playbook for 2 nights.
Exactly. I mean, this is a win-win, I would think, for Vegas. However, like we've talked about, it would be a very Raiders thing to do to still come out here and lose this game and get that pretty much that shot in the arm of, well, there goes our season. But the next game, speaking of the Jets, they take on the Bills this week, getting to our first Sunday game. This is one the Bills are 10-point favorites in. Jets trying to ride the Mike White wave, nearly got a win against Minnesota. This one could be closer than that 10 points indicates. However, Buffalo's been dominant nearly all season.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it will be closer than that 10 points, but not because of White. I think it's been closer because of that defense. The defense continues to find ways to keep them in the game. Obviously, a game in Buffalo, we'll see as we get closer. I mean, right now, there just looks like just cloud cover, but who knows what kind of weather in terms of precipitation they'll get around game time, if it's going to be some snow or rain, but that cold 30 degrees. So I do like the game here for the Jets to keep it kind of close throughout. Maybe Buffalo gets a backdoor cover here, a late touchdown, but overall, I mean, I think it's going to be a battle, 2 division rivals going at it and everything, and I think it's going to be one of those fun games that people don't expect to be fun just because of the name in recent years. But yeah, give me the Bills here. I think Josh Allen, Diggs, they get it done in the end. But I do like the Jets' chances here to cover.
I think so too. This is going to be one of those that it's going to be a fun game. The Bills and Jets, even though they feel like two opposites, they're really not. This is a Jets team that you mentioned, Andrew, is inconsistent. We don't know which team we're going to get every single week. I think, they come off the Minnesota game. They'll be a little dejected at first. It might be a rough first drive or two, but the Jets' defense will tighten up. Mike White will make a few big plays. This will be a fun game, but I think Buffalo still takes it. And the next one here, the Browns and the Bengals. Interesting here. Joe Burrow, we talked about it last week. He's never lost to the Chiefs. He's never beaten the Browns either. Another interesting stat. But the Bengals are 5.5-point favorites. Deshaun Watson is back. He got some of the rust off of him. I don't know how much. We'll have to see how that goes in this game. But Cleveland, if they can win this one, they're still alive, and they get to that 6-7 record. If Cincinnati can win it, they're still fighting with Baltimore for the top of the AFC North.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson scared me last week. I mean, he looked, I get it. Yeah, obviously had to shake rust off and everything. It's been over a year since he's last played in an actual game. But, man, he did not look good. It took their special teams touchdown. It took 2 defensive touchdowns for them to beat that Texans team. And before that, they had a nice win over the Buccaneers. So, I don't know. As much as you want to say the Browns have a chance in this game, I don't know. Watson just scared me. I got to go Cincinnati here. And, honestly, I think they take those 5.5 points and cover that as well. Bengals are hitting a good stride here lately, and I think they continue that offensively and defensively. We saw Samaje Perine play very, very well last week in his opportunity, and I think he continues to do that as well. And obviously, guys like T. Higgins and stuff is no joke either. So I think Cincinnati's going to find a way to get this job done here, especially at home too.
Yeah, this is one of those that Cincinnati's defense has improved over time, and when they want to play in a big game, Cincinnati always seems to step up. They're going to treat this like a big game. They still haven't beaten the Browns in a while. They need to get that revenge going for them. Obviously, it's weird saying getting revenge against a team that's 5-7, but I think Cincinnati goes into this when they're fired up. They have the huge win over Kansas City to remind them this is where we're supposed to be. This is who we can be, and Cincinnati gets a resounding win over Cleveland. The next one here, I think we both agree the Cowboys are going to beat the Texans. Can the Cowboys cover that 17.5-point spread, though, is the bigger question, I feel like, Andrew.
Yes, I think they do as well. I mean, this Houston team is bad. I mean, it doesn't take anyone.
What are you talking about? They put a safety on the Browns, Andrew.
So I was going to say, it doesn't take anybody to figure that. It's easy to figure that one out, but I don't see any way the Cowboys lose this game. Now I'm going to keep saying that. Hopefully I say it enough where I jinx it, and that's how they do lose this game. But no, I don't see any way that they drop this game, and honestly, I don't see any way they don't cover. I mean, you just compare these two teams top to bottom. I mean, you look at it. Browns beat them by, 13 points last week with a quarterback that didn't look like he knew where the football field was.
Yeah.
And if they're able to get two defensive touchdowns, this Cowboys defense has been phenomenal all year. I kind of expect to see a defensive touchdown here from Dallas. You expect to see a couple turnovers. I mean, this game, you're looking at like 35-10, something like that.
Yeah, this is if you want to see a really bad game this week, for some reason, this is the one. This isn't going to be putting 54 on Indianapolis bad, I wouldn't think. I don't think the Texans have that big of an implosion. You see that maybe once a year, maybe twice a year if you're unlucky or lucky, depending on the franchise. But this is going to be bad. I think Dallas easily wins this one by 21 or more. The Texans are just not a good football team, and their quest to get the number one pick continues. The next one here, the Vikings and the Lions, two teams that, well, they're the top two in the NFC North. Minnesota 10-2, Detroit 5-7. Despite everything, looking at it, I mean, records and momentum and all sorts, Detroit 2-point favorites in this one.
That's wild. I mean, I get Detroit's looked a lot better than they have recently than the beginning of the year. Jamal Williams has really taken the run game to another level. But in the end, the Vikings got a solid defense. Detroit can't stop anybody. I mean, you're going up against Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. I mean, this offense is going to be too much for the Detroit Lions, in my opinion. So, obviously, I'm going to take, I mean, crazy to say an upset here. But I guess I'm not the one picking the upset. I'm just following the stats here. So, but I'll take the upset in this game. Again, I'm shocked to see this unless there's a injury somewhere in Minnesota that they know inside that we have not been aware of yet. That's the only thing maybe I could see this kind of swinging. But then, I mean, real quick, I mean, outside the matchup here, but just look at the difference in points for. I mean, it just shows how well Detroit can score. 315 to 289 comparing these two teams. But then obviously 279 to 324 is just an insane number as well. So it shows where this Lions team's at. They got an offense that can compete with a lot of teams. But in the end, in this offseason, I know I'm jumping the gun here, but in the offseason, you put a couple guys on defense, you could be looking at a whole different team next year and in terms of where you're going to be at in the standings. But we're obviously talking about this year. Minnesota's looked good on the road so far. Already got 4 wins. I think they continue their winning trend here and pick up another victory. As much as I do want the Lions to give the Eagles a little bit of separation, but got to go Vikings.
Yeah, this is one that I think this is going to be what we call a classic Detroit game, Andrew. This is going to be a game the Lions are going to come out swinging. Everyone's going to be really impressed. Goff's going to have a big play. DeAndre Swift's going to have a nice run. Everyone's going to go, okay, Detroit's going to hang around. They can do this. It's going to be a tie game at halftime. The Lions are going to get a big play in the third quarter, only to immediately have a giant turnover their next drive. Minnesota will capitalize, and eventually the Vikings will pull away in the fourth quarter, but enough to say, hey, that was close. We're getting better as a team. That doesn't matter. You're going to be 5-8. I think Minnesota wins this one. It'll be close. It'll be a battle, but Detroit's not there yet. Like you said, they could be in a few years, maybe next year if you've got enough good defensive pieces. But this is a Lions team. Yes, they're fun to watch. Yes, I think, all love to see them win, but I don't think it's going to happen this Sunday. The next one, the Jags taking on the Titans. Tennessee, I don't know if you want to call it a disappointing season. I don't know. They're 7-5, but every time it seems they get themselves in a big game, it never works out for them. They take on 4-8 Jacksonville this week. Titans 3.5-point favorites as they try to get back on the winning side of things.
Yeah, this is a game. I don't know. I was just disappointed with Jacksonville last week. I'm not saying they should have went out and beat Detroit, but in that blowout against Detroit, that was kind of surprising to see, especially after a big win against Baltimore. You talk about a team you don't know it's going to show up. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you find a way to lose to Denver, who's been struggling all year. You bounce back, you beat Baltimore, you play the Chiefs close, and then you show that performance against Detroit. I have a hard time picking a team like that, so I got to go Tennessee here. You figured Derrick Henry's going to get back on track. He was held in check last week in Philadelphia. You expect Ryan Tannehill. I hope Burks is okay and he's able to play. He took a big hit and left the game, so hopefully he's able to get back their leading receiver. So we'll see with Tennessee how healthy they are coming in this game, but I mean, you expect Derrick Henry to win a game like this, so I got to go Titans here.
Yeah, this is one that, to me, is a bit difficult to pick because both these teams feel a bit inconsistent at times, Jacksonville more so than Tennessee. But at the end of the day, the rule I kind of always have in my head, if you have a pick 'em, you go with the home team in the NFL. Usually that's a safe bet I think Tennessee will take care of business here. It will take a while, but I think they'll eventually take care of it. The next one, the Eagles taking on the Giants. Huge game at MetLife. Eagles 7-point favorites as they try to stay undefeated on the road, move to 12-1 on the season. The Giants are just trying to get out of their own way. 3 straight weeks without a win, 2 losses and a tie. You're just trying to get back to where you were earlier in the year because if you look, Washington's now a half game behind them and trying to take that 3rd spot in the NFC East, which is a pretty coveted spot this year to have that mark of 7-4-1 and 3rd in that division.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody by now knows I'm an Eagles fan, but everybody should know by now too. I try not to be a homer, and listen, I obviously I don't want to pick against them, but this is a game I think the Giants steal, and I don't know if you call it a steal at home, but listen, the Eagles have won 11 of 12. You're going into this game, Giants are due for a win, and I mean, I was looking at it earlier, and all week I'm kind of hearing, Eagles have owned the Giants. They're 13-3 in the last 16 games and all that. And I mean, eventually things turn like that. So it's tough to beat a division rival twice. So I mean, coming into the year, I thought you'd kind of split against the Giants and Cowboys. So I mean, this is one of those games. I think I pick the Giants here in their home stadium. I am surprised to see it 7 points the spread here. I mean, in New York. I mean, the other thing I keep hearing, and I mean, you can probably say the same thing, is this Giants team is very similar to the Titans, where they rely a lot on the run game. So if the Eagles are able to jump out big and you force them to pass, that's obviously the Eagles' recipe. So everyone keeps talking about, like, if you do win the coin toss, go get the ball, get up, score early, and kind of control the game that way. So it'll be interesting to see. But if this turns into a shootout, I like the Eagles' chances. That's got to be the Eagles' way because, I mean, I've talked about it before. The Giants keep winning games because of their defense. So, I mean, I don't think – I mean, I wouldn't trust Daniel Jones to kind of come back and win that kind of game. So, it's all going to come down to that. Can you stop Barkley? But, I mean, in the end, I think Giants might find a way to get this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle for sure. Anytime you get a divisional rivalry game, going to be intense. But I don't know. I guess I'll be the homer for you, Andrew. I think Philadelphia rolls in this one. This is a Giants team that seems like they're starting to falter off a little bit, coming down to earth somewhat. And I think the Eagles deliver that drop back to reality with a big win here.
Hey, I obviously hope so. I'll be full on Eagles gear on Sunday, but some games you can't pick.
That's true. That is true. The next one here, the Ravens taking on the Steelers. Pittsburgh, a similar situation to Cleveland, where you're just trying to fight your way back in with that 5-7 record. Steelers, however, 2-point favorites in this one, as the fate of Lamar Jackson, I feel like, is the big decision here. He is listed as questionable as of this show. It's going to be interesting to see how this injury plays out and how this game plays out.
Yeah, I lean Steelers here. We talk about how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. I think that shows out here. I get, obviously, Kenny Pickett, a young guy here coming in, but you don't know the status of Lamar Jackson. Even if he's forced out there, he's obviously not going to be 100%. So, I mean, I think that's going to play a factor. And here, this is a tough atmosphere to play in Pittsburgh. And it's huge rivalry out there. I got to lean Steelers here. I think they're able to get the job done. That defense is really good. They're going to be ready to go. And you mentioned it. It's kind of like Cleveland. One of these two teams, I mean, they're fighting for their seasons. And that's going to show out there in Pittsburgh. And they're a veteran squad there as well outside the quarterback position. So I'm going to lean there. And listen, it's going to open up. I mean, Ravens lead the division right now. So they drop this game. You're obviously 2 back there. I mean, it's going to open up a whole division race. Obviously, Cincinnati becomes the front runner then if they take care of business this weekend. But imagine Cleveland. I mean, that's, again, we talked about it. Cleveland could win that game. Imagine that. You get 2 6-7 teams here, beat 2 8-4 teams, and man, now it's just craziness down the stretch. So,
yeah, a whole lot of chaos potential left in the AFC here. I agree. I think the Steelers take this one. This is one that I think it doesn't matter who Baltimore has as their quarterback in this game, even with Lamar. Baltimore's a team that's more built to win on their defense and get a late-game situation where they know they can win. I think the Steelers jump on them early. Not often. Ravens' defense will hold them still. It's not that Kenny Pickett's going to go out there and throw for 5 TDs or something like that. But this is a Steelers team that they're still gritty. They're still tough. They're going to do whatever it takes to win at home. And it's so hard to pick against Mike Tomlin teams. Even with how bad Pittsburgh has been it's still hard to pick against him in a big game like this. I think the Steelers take it as well. This one, however, I think we can both agree on who's probably going to win. Kansas City taking on Denver. Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite. Denver I don't even know what to say about them at this point. You're 3-9. Every week it somehow finds a way to get worse, it feels like. This is a Denver team that all year rely on your defense and pray that your offense can score more than 14 points a game. When you're averaging 13.8, it's just rough out there watching the Broncos offense.
Yeah, no question about it. I think Chiefs obviously win this game and they cover. I mean, until Russell Wilson gives us something to believe otherwise, I think that's where everybody's going to go. I saw a number the other day. Carson Wentz has more touchdown passes than Russell Wilson to this point in the season. Carson Wentz, for those who don't know, has not played since Week 6. I think that shows the struggles of Denver's offense so far this year. And, I mean, again, they've been banged up a little bit, obviously, and, I mean, that's obviously played a factor. But, I mean, you're averaging 13 points a game. You're not going to win many games, and this is going to be another loss.
Absolutely. Denver's not going to have a shot to win this thing. If they keep it close, good for them. If they win, it would be funny to me at least. It would be a huge upset, but I don't think the Broncos have it in them to even keep this one within 10. I think Kansas City will get to roll here. It'll be tough for a while. Denver's defense will be able to make a few key stops early, but they're going to be on the field so much they're going to get worn down and get tired. Story we've seen all season with Denver. This one is an interesting one. Tampa Bay, the big comeback win. They're riding high. San Francisco, 8-4. They're going through that quarterback carousel once again with Garoppolo, of course, not going to play the rest of the regular season. Insert Brock Purdy as your quarterback. Doesn't matter, though. According to Vegas, San Francisco, 3.5-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, they're saying that because of San Francisco's defense has been phenomenal all year. Tampa Bay's obviously struggled. Here's the thing, though. There's one guy I'm not going to go against, and that's Tom Brady versus a guy making his first career start. So I'm going to go Tampa Bay Buccaneers, go on the road, get the win for that reason as well. Tampa Bay's defense is no joke, so they're going to give Brock trouble all day long. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I do think it's going to be two defenses that show up and battle it throughout, but in the end, when we saw what Tom Brady did against the Saints, it doesn't matter how much you struggle all game. All that matters is what you do on that final drive, and in the end, Tom Brady gets it done.
This is another one that I have trouble trying to pick because both these teams are going to play similar. Like you said, Andrew, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. This is going to be a physical, tough game. But at the end of the day, I think you ride the wave of Christian McCaffrey, let him do whatever he does. I think San Francisco holds on barely. I think that 3.5 will get covered by Tampa Bay. I'd say Niners win this one by 3 with a late field goal. But Brock Purdy, he'll have his mistakes. Every quarterback does in their first game. No one comes out and plays perfect. But I think that Niners defense will be able to hold on. Even though it's Tom Brady, they'll still be able to make a few stops, maybe hold him to some field goals here.
Yeah, you talk about low scoring. How many NFL games do you see the over-under underneath 40? Like, that just shows you what they're expecting in this game, only being 37.5.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal for somebody. But if you take that 3.5 away, they're expecting about a 20-17 game here. So that's around where I think this one might fall. Next one, Panthers taking on the Seahawks. Carolina, you've got your guy times 3 here. Sam Darnold, of course, I believe is going to be the quarterback for him, unless you never know. They might throw P.J. Walker back in if they feel like it. Can't have Baker Mayfield, though. He's been cut. Seattle, though, 3.5-point favorites. And the Seahawks are just flying. I mean, even though they've lost 2 of their last 3, their offense still coming together at times. Geno Smith, the unlikely hero for Seattle this season. Seahawks 7-5, trying to make it 8-5. They're 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, it's obviously a big game. You can't lose. You're going against a lesser opponent, a team who's never won on the road this season, a team below 500. You have to take full advantage of that. We just talked about a game that is a coin flip who's going to win. And if the Buccaneers pull that game off in San Francisco, you win this game, you got yourselves tied for the first place in the division. In a season, I don't think many teams many people expected you to even get 5 or 6 wins. So, a phenomenal story here for Seattle. I think that story continues this weekend, and they're able to get the job done with that offense that's been playing pretty well and Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. So give me Seattle here at home.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. I think Seattle takes this one. They'll cover as well, of course. But this is going to be a game where the Seahawks, I think, will eventually have their way with Carolina and roll by double digits at some point. I would say Seahawks by 10 in this one.
I'm shocked to see it only at 3.5.
I am too. This is one that, I mean, I try to be, nice about it and try to, not be biased towards anyone. But I don't know how in the world Carolina doesn't get blown out in this one at some point. It feels like Seattle's just going to roll over them. They've got momentum, and I mean, they know what's in store if they can get this win. They know the West is right there to get in that race with San Francisco. But the next one, the Dolphins and the Chargers. Miami coming off a rough week. Speaking of the Niners there, losing 33-17 to them. Chargers are still just trying to find their footing. I mean, how many times have we said this season? The Chargers just sitting around 500, waiting for the perfect opportunity. But Miami, 3-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick, too. I mean, you get two teams coming off bad or devastating losses, games you don't want to lose. Obviously, when Garoppolo goes down, you don't want to lose that quarterback coming in for the first time. And then Chargers, of course, lose to the Raiders. So a game you went in thinking you were going to win. So it's a tough game to pick. Do you want to go with Miami on the road? Do you want to go with the Chargers bouncing back at home? You got two good young quarterbacks that seem to kind of still trying to figure things out. You got solid receivers all over the field, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then you got Tyreek Hill and Waddle on the other side. So where you look at for the difference here? I'm a big Austin Eckler guy, so I think I'm going to turn to the running back here. I think Chargers are going to pull this game out close. I think they're able to maybe control the clock a little bit better here. We got two struggling defenses on the other end that can give up some points as well. So, in the end, I think I'm going to go Eckler here, helping out an already solid offense, just controlling the clock a little bit more. So, I'm going to lean Chargers here in a very close game.
To me, I feel like this is going to be a shootout. And if that's the case, well, it really favors both teams if they both get into a shootout. But I think Chargers being at home, Herbert will bounce back. He'll have a great day. And I think this one's going to be tough, but they find a way. L.A. gets a win. Then the final game to get to, New England at Arizona on Monday night. Cardinals, yes, they're at home, but they're home dogs. 1.5-point favorites are the Patriots. Just another team that in Arizona that just nothing has gone right for them this season. Injury after injury. It doesn't matter who. Arizona's sitting at 4-8. They're just trying to turn their season around at this point. Still have a little bit of hope that if they can win out, maybe something crazy happens in the NFC West.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. With the pick'em games, you usually go to the home team. This is basically a pick'em game. I don't know. Patriots' defense has been really good, so what worries me here is the defense is going to shut down Arizona, and I don't know if Arizona's defense is going to be able to contain New England with the way they've run the ball for a little bit. But I don't know. This is a tough game to pick. I don't really trust either team. The Cardinals should be getting Hopkins back, so I'm going to lean Cardinals here. I think they should play one of their healthier games here with Connor and Hopkins in.
Yeah, if Arizona can stay somewhat healthy, I think they can win this game. Not the biggest Mac Jones fan in the world. I don't think he's going to play that great. Kyler will come back. Of course, he'll have a big game, especially if DeAndre Hopkins is there. I think Arizona takes this one. But what a fun week it should be in the NFL. Andrew, I mean, as we look at it here, any final thoughts on the week or anything in general, really? I mean, we can always go find the little MLB tracker here.
Oh, we can. I mean, I could talk MLB free agency all day.
Yeah, so we could do a 3-hour show of just free agency.
I could turn it into a 3-hour show. No, we've had some fun moves. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, any Red Sox fans listening, they lose Xander Bogaerts this morning. San Diego Padres have already lost out on 2 guys, so they're going to throw all their money out on the third one. You don't want that third guy going and you're striking out there on the free agents. I know you're probably happy with the Cardinals move. I can let you announce that one.
Yeah, so Wilson Contreras coming to the Cardinals on a 5-year, $87.5 million contract, which, I mean, I did not expect that. I did not expect the contract to be so team-friendly for St. Louis. You don't see that a whole lot. I know the projections I saw was maybe 4-year, $80 million for him, but, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I'm curious what they do if they play him more catcher, if they're going to move him to be the DH there with Albert obviously on his way out. But obviously Yadier on his way out too. You got a hole there at catcher. So, but his defense is where he lacks a little bit. So I do like that move, especially if they're going to try to ride him at DH for the majority. And then I'm interested to see what they do catcher wise. But listen, they're still not out of it. It sounds like they're still in on Carlos Rodon, the lefty starter for the Giants, and I like their chances maybe to go get one of the shortstops left in Carlos Correa or Dansby Swanson. So I would expect St. Louis to still be pretty aggressive here down the stretch.
I would think so. And, I mean, speaking of a team that's been kind of aggressive, kind of not, Red Sox getting Kenley Jansen, big pickup there for them. The Mets, of course, getting Jose Quintana. Aaron Judge, of course, the big deal. He did not go to the Giants. And Arson Judge is nowhere to be found.
Oh,
So,
John Heyman has had a rough week.
He has.
I feel bad for the guy. He's had a rough week with his reports, his spelling. I don't know if you saw his latest one late yesterday. Instead of saying Cole Hamels is looking to make a return to the MLB, he put Coke Hamels is looking to make a return to the MLB. So, and then obviously you mentioned the arson one. I mean, yeah, he misspells Aaron Judge, and predetermined the Judge to the Giants before they reached back out to him, and then the Yankees swoop back and get him. So it's been a rough week for Heyman.
Absolutely, but Aaron Judge staying with him for $360 million on a 9-year contract. Obviously, a big pickup there. Judge will be a permanent captain, I believe, for the next 9 years as well. So he had quite possibly, I know we talked about this Tuesday, Andrew, when you're able to turn down a $230 million contract, say, actually, let me hit 62 home runs this season. I'll earn myself a little bit more.
Well, how about that? Talk about a guy, and you always hear, you always have confidence, always have faith in yourself, always bet on yourself. Well, how about this? He went and bet on himself. He turned down $230 million, said he's going to do better than that. Went out and had one of the most historic seasons a player can have, breaking the AL home run record, winning MVP. And again, he turned it into an extra $130 million, going from $230 to $360. So I mean, just an incredible job there for Judge. And listen, I can't remember when it was announced. This signing I'm about to talk about, so we might have already said it on the show. But talk about another guy going out and betting himself. He said coming into free agency, he didn't want a 2-year deal or more. He wanted a 1-year deal. He's going to go out, try to recreate his career, and that's former MVP and Cody Bellinger. Obviously, longtime Dodger. Goes to the Cubs now, 1 year, $17.5 million. But you're betting on yourself here, obviously, because reports said he turned down multiple multi-year deals. So you're saying I'm putting all my chips in here, and if I don't get it done, I mean, not that your career's over, but you're gonna be down to almost veteran minimum contracts or maybe a few million there. Where if things don't go well, but if things go well, obviously you could be looking at over a $20 million contract next year. So he's putting all of his chips into this season as well. So we'll see. Which way does he go, Aaron Judge style, or does he struggle and almost cost himself his career? So it'll be interesting to see.
It absolutely will. Andrew, as always, thank you for being on the show. Episode number 96 tonight. We are bearing down on the 100th episode, hitting triple digits on this show. As always, thank you for being on with us. If you enjoyed the show tonight, feel free to give us a follow on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/NWTV7. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment below, and as always, hit that notification bell to know when we go live. If you want to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can do that as well. That's NWTV7 there, same as on Twitch. That's NWTV7. For Andrew Santangelo, I'm Cade Kennedy, and folks, we're getting into the thick of it here in the NFL race, and we will be back next week to recap another hopefully crazy week of the National Football League. Until then, have a great one, everybody.